We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Tonight from PNC Park in Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Pirates say hello to the St. Louis Cardinals in an all-important three-game series. That's Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. The Cardinals lead the Pirates by 3.5 in the wild card. Very important series for both these teams.
And just 2 series left this year against the Pirates, a team the Cardinals has struggled with, particularly here at PNC Park. The Cardinals have not won their last 6 series on the road. This one would be a nice one to take.
Well, a year ago, Francisco Liriano was the talk of baseball in many ways. Comeback player of the year in the National League. Well, this season, different story.
Liriano was so good a year ago. He's a 3-pitch pitcher. His sinker this year has not been as effective as it was a year ago. He also throws a changeup and a slider. And you mentioned the good success he's had against the Cardinals. He's been better lately, but he did give up 9 runs a couple of starts ago.
John Lackey will get the call for St. Louis, the right-hander. Great matchup. Lackey, Liriano, St. Louis in Pittsburgh. First pitch next on Fox Sports Midwest. Budweiser, designated driver, and enjoy the great times. Come in and visit Mid-American Chevy dealers and make your move to Chevrolet today. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. The banks of the Allegheny, what a beautiful night it is. The skyline of downtown Pittsburgh. Big crowd expected. Game 1 of 3, all-important series between these two teams. The Cardinals 3.5 games in front of Pittsburgh in the wild card. And St. Louis beginning a 1.5 games back of Milwaukee in the National League Central Division.
There's a lot of excitement about this series as the Pirates take the field.
This is a Pirate team that's just not gone away this year. They had a 7-game losing streak a week ago, but they bounced back. They have McCutchen back, and they have been averaging 30,000 plus here at the ballpark the last 20 games. So this is an entirely new PNC Park this season.
Matt Carpenter will lead things off. He's hitting .284. Peter Bourjos is in center field. John Jay against the lefty sits. Matt Holliday against Liriano. Good numbers, 6 for 15 with a home run and a double. Then it's Matt Adams, Johnny Peralta, Oscar Taveras. Average up to .238. Colton Wong, Tony Cruz, and the pitcher John Lackey, who is 2 for 6 thus far. Francisco Liriano, win right, as good as anybody in baseball.
I talked about his sinker in the open, Dan. Opponents are hitting .360 against the sinker of Liriano. A year ago, it was about .260. So that's the difference in my mind. He must be getting it up in the zone more. It's just not as effective as it was. A lot of swings and misses still this year. But a year ago, there were times where he was unhittable.
Also couples that sinker with a great slider. And if he can locate, he'll be tough tonight.
And a good changeup, Dan. He uses them about 33% each one of them, so he mixes his pitch as well.
Best record inside the division. The Cardinals are 30-19. Reds are 5 games above 500. And those losses, many of them coming against St. Louis. Then you have Milwaukee and then Pittsburgh, 24-31 in the division. And the Chicago Cubs at 19-32. The Cubs will see them this weekend at Busch Stadium. They are playing .500 baseball since Memorial Day.
They're a tough team to play right now. And the Pirates are going to look back at that last stat if they do not get in the playoffs. And they're going to look back and say that's the reason why.
Cardinals got into Pittsburgh very reasonable time. Creatures of habit. You get used to 1 a.m., 2 a.m., sometimes later than that. But last night, team gets in, gets a good meal here in town, a little rest, and here we go. First pitch knocked out to center. McCutchen on the move, and he makes the catch on the track as Carpenter gave it a ride into center field. Defense tonight for Pittsburgh. Starling Marte, he's in left. McCutchen, the speedster, in center. Travis SNIDER is in right. Harrison, Mercer, Walker, and Alvarez along the infield. Russell Martin behind the plate. Francisco Liriano is on the mound. And around the horn is brought to you by Dobbs. You notice no Gregory Polanco. Their 5-tool player that was called up really gave them a shot in the arm. When he first was called up, he's been sent back down.
They still believe in him, but he was just 1 for his last 30, Dan, with 11 strikeouts. And Clint Hurdle thought, you know, maybe I'd keep him on the bench and expose him to this big Cardinals series, or send him down and get him right. And he believes they're going to need him in September, and they want to get at bats. But he was just really getting worse and worse as far as his timing was concerned.
Pittsburgh Sportsman of the Year right there, Clint Hurdle. The 0-2. Tapped foul by Bourjos. You can understand giving John Jay the day off. He's played a ton of days in a row. You have a very good lefty with a good slider, as we've talked about, really 3 pitches. But also they're trying to keep Bourjos somewhat sharp too.
And he's had good numbers against Liriano. 6 for 17, right around 350. And Mike Matheny banking on that.
And that's in the dirt. Jay, though, has been very good against left-handed pitchers this year. And the Cardinals really riding that hot bat here in the month of August.
He's been good against everybody.
Yeah. The 1-2 pitch. On the inside corner to strike out of Bourjos.
Liriano will occasionally throw a 4-seamer on the inner half, and that's what that is, just catching the corner, or maybe not. Perhaps an inch or two off the plate, but he really did throw a quality pitch there. And Dan, you mentioned his changeup. I still think that's his best pitch, really. And the changeup this year has been as effective as it was a year ago when he was such a big winner for the Pirates.
Late swing there by Holliday. You'll notice that Liriano, with the full windup, will work from the third base side of the rubber, and they talk about at times how he's been ineffective against right-handed hitters. They've moved him to that side of the rubber to try to get him inside on the righties, and also that pitch to tail away and catch a corner.
Yeah, if you're a sinker ball guy, a lot of times they'll do that because you've got more of the plate to work with your sinker. You're gonna let that movement take the ball to the outside corner. That's the easy pitch for you. But getting on that side of the rubber to throw that pitch inside is a little harder. Even that pitch there did not stay in. It came back over the middle of the plate, and that's where you get hurt if you're a sinker ball pitcher.
1-2 the count. 2 outs, nobody on. Outfield is deep. McCutchen shading Holiday a little bit to right center.
Dan, I know folks in the Midwest won't want to hear me say this, but I've got to say it. Can the weather be any nicer here in Pittsburgh?
Man.
That was
awesome.
a strike. Holiday got away with that, but it is just perfect here. We know there's high temperatures throughout the Midwest right now.
We'll get plenty of that this weekend with Chicago in town. Remember, Saturday is a doubleheader, and there's seats still available for all 4 games against the Chicago Cubs. The 2-2. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Francisco Liriano. John Lackey, the veteran, gets the call tonight for St. Louis. Very important series, and again, all 3 games right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Josh Harrison will lead things off, the All-Star, followed by Travis Snider, then Andrew McCutchen, Neil Walker, Russell Martin, Pedro Alvarez, Starling Marte, Mercer, and then Liriano. Snider, 4 for 8, pair of doubles against Lackey. Some of the highlights so far for John Lackey as a Cardinal. As Harrison looks at strike 1, he's our key starter.
He's really just had one bad start as a Cardinal, and that came in Baltimore. And I'm not sure anybody would have had a good start that day in Baltimore the way they were swinging the bat.
And it made it look all the much better when you saw what Lance Lynn did in Game 3 of that series and just how well he pitched.
Amazing.
The bat rack was shaking. Guys couldn't wait to get to the batter's box. Josh Harrison has really turned into a fan favorite here in Pittsburgh. Hard worker. They feel he's a good person. Plays all over the diamond. Always hustling. And an all-star reward for him mid-season. Base hit out to left. Hustling out of the box. He's thinking 2. There he goes. Throw by Holiday. And he's in there safely. Right on cue, Josh Harrison.
He's a guy that could certainly hit off the bench, and Clint Hurdle started playing him, and guess what? He kept hitting. And he's been an answer for them defensively at third base. And he also brings speed. 17 stolen bases and the ability to stretch that single into a double.
To me, he is the Pirates version of Matt Carpenter. They're different type players, but similar type situations.
Harrison runs better, certainly hits from the right side, and that's a difference. And Carpenter is a guy that gets a lot of deep counts. Maybe that's a difference, but Harrison has been a big answer for them. And this offense, by the way, much improved in the second half.
Ground ball to Carpenter. Looks back, Harrison. Big out. And the point being is that both who's unsure around baseball what they do if they got a chance to start. Now we're seeing that. Cardinals defense. Dobbs around the horn. Holiday, BOURJOS, and TAVERAS in the outfield. Carpenter, PERALTA, WONG, and Adams on the infield. Tony Cruz is behind the plate. Lackey on the mound. And a nice ovation for the reigning MVP of the National League, Andrew McCutchen.
We showed earlier the graphic that SNIDER has hit John Lackey well, but I'd like to sit down next to SNIDER on the bench right now and ask him what he was thinking in that at bat. Runner on second base, nobody out. First pitch, grounds it to the third baseman. Not a productive at bat for SNIDER.
So a week ago tomorrow, then McCutchen returned from the DL. Pass Peralta into left. Harrison had to make sure that wasn't caught and cannot score. He does advance, though, to third. Runners at the corners for the Buccos.
Well, the Pirates are showing they're going to come out swinging today. They're looking for the first pitch they can handle. That was a fastball up from Lackey. And that's the great thing about baseball. That could very easily have been a line out double play. But he centers that very well. McCutchen has a lot more power than you'd think he has if you just stand next to him. He's not an imposing guy, but he has tremendous bat speed.
Put together, too.
He is.
Here's Neil Walker batting cleanup in this lineup. The changeup misses up and away. In a general sense, we've seen Lackey a little bit. Give me your thoughts.
Well, the slider, I think, is his best pitch. It's his put-away pitch. Opponent's batting average against that is much lower. But I think he's a complete guy. He's got a good fastball and a sinker. Uses them well. Doesn't throw a lot of change-ups. But I would say the number one word to describe him right now is he's a competitor. That's how I see it.
I was listening to our pregame show with Jim Edmonds. He likened him, and not talking about stuff, but his makeup to Chris Carpenter. A little bit of that type of makeup when you see John Lackey pitch.
And it's interesting you go back to your contemporaries, because I say Danny Cox, but I might say those two guys are similar too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the ball. Win it for us.
Yep.
Exactly.
Lackey would love that double play here. 2 balls and no strikes. McCutchen a threat to steal, no doubt. He may be running on this count.
Only been thrown out once.
He has 17 steals. Marte with 25. Harrison with 17. So some pretty good speed in this lineup. Just foul.
Neil Walker is one of those guys that it doesn't matter how well he's swinging the bat. When he plays against the Cardinals, you just know you're going to get some good at-bats and potential game winners. I think we ought to have a plan to not have him as our star of the game, being interviewed by Jim Hayes for the 50th time, it seems like. We were always talking to Neil Walker. Let's stop. That's my plan. No Neil Walker. Period.
Okay, I'm in. He's been banned.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Suspended from Fox Sports Midwest. Neil Walker. Two balls and 2 strikes. Can Lackey get the double play? McCutchen not running, and that pitch taken high.
Walker has popped 17 home runs. Always been a better hitter from the left side, but this year has improved from the right side as well. You'd expect McCutchen to run here.
Shorter lead this time for McCutchen. Long look by Lackey. Now time is called. He's hearing it from the crowd. As we saw in the playoffs, they get as loud, as amped up as anybody in the game. There goes McCutchen. Ground ball that's hit to short. Out. Out. Oh, what a double play. Kolten Wong, how good was that? My goodness. 6-4-3 on the double play. One of the best turns of the Kolten Wong with one of the best plays we have seen defensively for the Cardinals this year.
Well, Dan, it's about courage and creativity to be able to go across the bag and complete the double play. Tremendous athleticism on the bag just in time. And you might say, why didn't McCutchen take him out? Well, he didn't take him out because he couldn't see him. McCutchen, who do you take out? He's not there. There he is. And he's gone. What a play by Kolten Wong.
And now it's the Pennsylvania native, Matt Adams. And then the presence of mind, you know, part of that equation of that play is that he's running full speed for the most part to the bag at second, but then the exchange out of the glove and then in the air to have something on that throw.
You're doing four things at once.
Man.
Hit the bag, catch it, get out of the way of the runner and throw it, all basically at the same time.
Great play, Kolten Wong. Liriano has already struck out two.
Fun to watch. Saves a run.
And who knows, maybe a big inning. Quiets the crowd. As you said, most importantly, it keeps Pittsburgh off the board. 0-2 the count on Adams. 3 strikeouts, 3 in a row.
Unusual start really for the Pirates, although he is a big swing and miss guy, Liriano. The Pirates do not strike out a lot of batters. They make a lot of errors collectively. Only one team in the National League with more errors, but they do not strike out many hitters either. And the Cardinals don't strike out very often. Their offense, the best in the National League in terms of minimizing the strikeout, but so far bucking the trend. 3 out of 4 Cardinals have struck out.
Good swing and a miss by Peralta. A couple of these pitches we've seen have just been nasty. The shift is on for the Cardinals shortstop. The one defender on the right side of the infield, that's Pedro Alvarez.
Somewhere along the line as a pitcher, Dan, you learn, the successful ones, that late movement is what matters. That movement that happens right in front of the plate, right when the batter's starting to swing, and I think Liriano has that figured out. It's not the big looping movement. It's not moving after it reaches the plate. It's moving just in front of the plate. That's when guys can't center it.
The Pirates trying to figure out who could be their everyday first baseman. Pedro Alvarez getting the call tonight. They have Ike Davis, the former Met. There's a grounder, and it's off the glove of Jordy Mercer. So an error at short by Mercer. That's error number 10 on the Pirates shortstop. Depending on what publication, what website, who you talk to in baseball, these guys 1, 2, or 3 maybe in all of baseball in terms of top prospects.
Different kind of players, both 22 years of age. Polanco more of a 5-tool guy than Taveras, but both guys can flat out hit. I think the similarity is each of them has been dealing with timing issues at the plate.
Taveras has shortened his swing a bit. And he's starting to get results, and a good day yesterday. One of the only Cardinals that put something together offensively as the Redbirds drop 2 of 3 against the Phillies. One of the outs he made was a double play and lined into that. We'll check on Peralta at first.
Dan, I predicted on the radio side when we were in Philly that Taveras would hit 500 on this road trip. Close to it now, but we'll be keeping tabs on that. Had a nice series there. He did line out, as you mentioned. Otherwise, he would be hitting 500.
5 for 11 so far. What made you think that he'd have success?
I just had a feeling that I only think you can keep a good hitter down for so long, and I do think he is a big-time hitter. I'm not saying power. I'm not saying he's always going to hit, but I just think you can't keep him down for very long. And he did seem like he was making some adjustments and working at his timing and shortening that swing a bit, as you mentioned.
Three weeks ago, he's not in the lineup. You know, against a lefty like Liriano. Trying to gain traction, and the Cardinals showing some confidence in him, which is also part of the equation too.
You're 22 years old. You're playing in the best league on the planet. Confidence matters.
And Taveras hits a high fly ball out to left center field. McCutchen is there. Peralta back to the bag at first. How many times do you see a player make a great play defensively, and then they come up, and it just kind of sets the tone for them, gives them confidence, and then they put together a good at bat?
You walk a little taller, you feel a little stronger, a little more at ease. First thing that's happened in the series is a positive.
Let's see if it carries over to Kolten Wong. It's a fastball and pulls it foul.
I've thought about that collectively for the Cardinals today. And you mentioned they're kind of on a little bit different and better schedule here than maybe they were on in Philadelphia with the short night. And just kind of sensed kind of an air of confidence here with this team, and relaxed and rested. And we'll see if it carries out on the field.
Peralta thought about going to second. Stays put at first. One thing we noticed in the game yesterday, the Cardinals' lack of aggressiveness on the bases. A couple of times that they could have advanced, even the night before. You know, that's something that's got to be.
It's not their strong suit.
Yeah,
to be clear
with this team.
There's no doubt about it. Well, they did it for an inning and created a couple of errors.
You put pressure on the defense.
Now maybe the errors made for the exciting base running, or maybe the exciting base running created the errors. I don't know which came first, but the Phillies were throwing the ball all over the place in one inning. They made 2 errors, led to 3 Cardinal runs, and that was fun baseball to watch. Taveras was flying around the field, and really everybody was hustling. It was just I think maybe the next level that the Cardinals need to get to as far as their aggressiveness on the base paths.
Playing towards the middle was Mercer. Handles it easily and steps on the bag at second. Midway through 2, and there's no score. Dan McLaughlin with you. No score as we move to the bottom of the second. We check in with Jim Hayes. And Jim, some of these Cardinals are starting to get healthier.
Yeah, Yachty and Michael Wacha headed to Springfield. The Cardinals announcing that today. Yachty will be there tomorrow. He'll have a full workout. If that goes well, he could play in a game there as soon as Wednesday. The Cards not laying out a timetable for Yachty, but they look at him as a guy who doesn't need a lot of time to get sharp. So if the thumb holds up, could be soon. Wacha scheduled to throw live BP on Wednesday. He's been throwing bullpens. The Cards say they want to see him against hitters before they decide what's next for him. Dan and Rick, either way, it's all good news.
And when you're talking about Michael Wacha, the talk is that they would insert him when he's ready in the rotation. It's not about coming to the bullpen, correct?
Well, they've said it's based on need. They'd love to get him in that starting rotation. They haven't made that official now that he'll go into the rotation. But, Dan, it's something they're looking at, and they feel he'll have enough time to get ready.
All right, here's Russell Martin, who's hitting .288. Leads Major League catchers in on-base percentage, well above 400.
And I did press Mike Matheny on that regarding Michael Wacha a couple of days ago, and really just it seems to me that it's not a lot of time to get Michael Wacha ready, but he really had more confidence than I thought he would have that he can get back to being game ready quickly and have 5-6 innings perhaps in terms of what his upside would be in the not too distant future. And I, again, very surprised that would be some quick healing and some quick work too on the part of Michael Wacha, but he is young.
And apparently it won't take many at bats to see Molina, as Jim said, come back. They'll use him as a designated hitter.
So imagine the AA team that Springfield is playing, and they have their little pitcher meeting, and they say, hey, they got a new guy on the other team. His name's Yachty or Molina.
Good luck.
Well, how do we pitch him? And the excitement, it really is an exciting thing for the AA guys to have Molina there, and for the other team, because, you know, he's a big fly. And remember the first time I saw Martinez, I'm trying to think of his first name, pitcher for the Cardinals big league team, came down to A-ball, and we were just in awe. I mean, it's just unbelievable that he'd be pitching in one of our games.
Well, he had been to where you want to go.
Exactly.
Saw a shot of Tyler Lyons. He's been recalled, the lefty from AAA Memphis.
Silvio Martinez. There we go.
The Cardinals option infielder Greg Garcia to Springfield as well. It'll be Lyons' third appearance with the club. I thought what was really good about his numbers is Martin pops it foul. He walked just 18 and 81 1/3. Right. That's really been the issue up here. At times he can look great. Other times lack of control and gets beat up.
Well, two reasons for that. One is guys don't swing it as many pitches up here as they do in the minor leagues, so they don't chase as much. That's number one. And number two, you got to be confident enough that you don't nibble as much up here.
Martin pops it up to the right side. Adams is over and makes an over-the-shoulder basket catch for the first out here in the bottom of the second.
I guess his back is okay.
That was the concern coming out of the game Saturday night. Stretched on a ball and a comeback or two. Trevor Rosenthal, and slow to get up, but did play yesterday, so everything's all right.
And that play that he made kept the game from being maybe an 18, 19, 20 inning game, because that ball goes down the right field line. That game would be tied. And he's been really good with the glove. He has soft hands. I think he's pretty easy to underestimate in terms of his defensive ability.
I don't think there's any doubt. Now it's Alvarez. Had a couple of home runs over the weekend in Milwaukee. 25 errors for Alvarez this season. So they're going to try him out at first base. Let Josh Harrison potentially play third base every day. You've got to keep his bat in the lineup because he can produce with the long ball. A lot of RBIs this season. 17 home runs, which is down for him, and 55 driven in.
But you can't have 25 errors at a corner position. I mean, if you had 15, you could live with it, but not 25.
2 balls and a strike. Lackey's shaking his head. He was frustrated, did not get the call on a pitch that looked to be a strike. The 2-1 pitch. Really good changeup, his best of the night.
He doesn't throw very many, about 3% changeups. He'll use his curveball more for the change of speed than the straight change. But that was a good spot for it there. Had Alvarez out front.
Went with it again. But that's pitching. You know, there's so much that these guys learn with the scouting reports, the video. And then all of a sudden, a guy like Lackey, who's been around a long time, mixes it up.
Depends on the hitter.
In the air, deep left center field. BOURJOS is back. He's at the wall, and it's gone. Number 18 for Alvarez. He's starting to heat it up.
Three starts as a first baseman, 3 home runs for Alvarez. After 2 changeups, he gets a fastball down in the middle of the plate. Lackey knows it right away. He has tremendous power.
Starling Marte swings through the breaking ball. You know, you're talking about the starts for Alvarez, and you wonder when you have 25 errors how much that becomes a factor between the ears and then takes over every part of your game.
He's freed up, isn't he?
Yeah.
I agree. I'm thinking the same thing, and you just feel like you're half a player, and you just kind of feel down about your performance.
And you're letting your teammates down. That's part of it too. Here's the 0-2. But there's no doubting his power. He just hit that to the deepest part of the park. In left center, it jets out to make room for the bullpens. And it's about 410, deepest part of the park. And that would have cleared that portion of the fence.
I think for Cardinal fans that have some concerns about Oscar Taveras, I would point to Pedro Alvarez about 2 years ago.
Good point.
When his timing was so bad, way out in front of off-speed pitches, way behind fastballs, and he was a strikeout waiting to happen. And the Pirates stuck with him and knew that it would come at some point, and it has.
Tough play here for Peralta. No play. Not with the speed of Marte. An infield hit. 4th hit for the Pirates. We turn to our Toyota keys to the game. Dan, my first thought has to do with the Cardinals taking control of this game and this series. I think the fact that they haven't played well on the road, and I think sometimes you just have to go out and take it and say, no, we're going to do it. We're going to dictate what happens. Get the early lead if you can, and then minimize the mistakes. I think the Pirates have a lot of hitters that are good mistake hitters. I think guys that if you hang a breaking ball to Alvarez or to Walker or to McCutchen, they're going to do something with it, and they're good mistake hitters, and you can't make them if you're John Lackey, and you also can't make defensive mistakes and base running mistakes. So I think this game is going to be dictated by the Cardinals taking control and minimizing their errors.
Jordy Mercer, the 8th place hitter in the lineup. Outfield is straight away. The speed of the Pirates becomes such a factor for John Lackey. The long looks, the pauses, anything he can to disrupt the rhythm of the runner.
It's smart. Cardinals have not been as effective throwing runners out since Yadier Molina got hurt. No surprise there. So the pitcher has to help.
Marte started towards second base, then came back to the bag. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, Dan, I wanted to further the point just one step further about taking control. Mike Matheny's been talking about how teams have been wanting to beat the Cardinals because they're defending National League champions. I think the other way to look at that, and that's true, but the other thing to say would be show up at the ballpark every series, every day, and you are the National League champions. Believe it, feel it, play like it.
You look across the board in Major League Baseball. There's only 3, maybe 4 teams that will wind up this season above 90 wins. This was a 97-win team a year ago. The point being is that there are very few teams that are just running away with it.
Right.
There's a lot of mediocrity in baseball at times. Runner goes, slowly hit, Carpenter, do or die. No play. So back-to-back infield hits, and it brings in Francisco Liriano.
And back-to-back infield hits following a home run, very frustrating for John Lackey, and you could really see it on his face there. And you know, still no reason to get panicky here. You've got the pitcher coming to the plate, and then if you can get Harrison, then you're out of it with just 1 run. But that's 5 hits and 8 batters for the Pirates.
Liriano is hitting .094 this year. No home runs, no RBIs.
And when you can't hit, you bunt.
Get it, Bob. Get it, Bob. Get it. Get it.
Gets the bunt down. Lackey goes to first with Wong covering. Runners advance to second and third. And a chance for Josh Harrison, who already is 1 for 1. A reminder, the Cardinals and Pirates are playing Game 2 of their series right here on Fox Sports Midwest tomorrow night. On the air at 5:30 on Fox Sports 1. The Royals look to continue their push to the playoffs. They'll take on the Twins. That's at 6:30. Josh Harrison with runners at second and third. He's driven in 43 this year. He doubled to start the game. Out to deep left. Holiday came in, backs up, and makes the catch. The Pirates strand 2. Home run by Alvarez. 1-0 after 2.
West is brought to you by Schnucks, your neighborhood hometown grocer for 75 years. And by 5 Hour Energy, recognizing those who, despite their own needs, put others first. I can hear the chants from Ballpark Village tonight of Let's Go Blues. Go ahead and do it. Let's Go Blues. They're at Ballpark Village tonight and getting set for the start of the hockey season. Unveiling of a new sweater. Many of the Blues players are there tonight. I hope you're enjoying it. Maybe the biggest fan of them all is in our studio, and that's Jim Edmonds. Tony Cruz leads it off for St. Louis. Followed by Lackey and then Matt Carpenter. The Cardinals trail 1-0. Pedro Alvarez with a home run. Tony's hitting 198. And it seems to be, Rick, play one game, sit the next. Play one, sit the next, back and forth with A.J. Pierzynski.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for him to get a start against a left-handed pitcher, Liriano. But I think beyond that, the most important thing is really the relationship with the pitcher. And if Mike Matheny believes that Cruz has got to catch a certain guy, I think that matters more than what he does with the bat. Although Tony would like to be a little better than 0 for his last 13. There was a time where he was getting a hit or two every one of his starts. But he seems to have hit a bad piece right now. Pierzynski, on the other hand, has really been producing offensively.
AJ will walk by us on the planes, and Jim and I, Jim Hayes, we sit in the same row, and he walks by and he goes, National Emmy, guys. National Emmy right here. He's been a lot of fun to be around.
Oh, he's great.
"17 years in the big leagues. A lot of experience in that conversation there. Adam Wainwright came up, closed out the 06 World Series year before. Pierzynski and the White Sox won in 2005.
I'm a big fan of having older players on a team, and I know you like that infusion of youth and talent, and from a financial point of view, I think the general manager typically will like younger players because they're a little bit more cost controlled. But at some point, when you've got an older player that wants to go back to a World Series or wants to get to one at the end of his career, I think there's a lot of value in that.
Keep the savings going this year and on the run. Cardinals score 6. Get any size coffee, fountain, frozen drink for just 50 cents the next day. So don't just root for the Cardinals and their wins. Root for 6 runs at your nearest on the run. To further your point, to look at younger players, it has become back to where it should be because of the lack of PEDs in the game today. You're not seeing 33 and 34-year-old guys given 5-year deals. And we did see that during the steroid era. Their skills did not diminish. And now you're seeing more and more of these younger players coming up and sticking.
But the thing you worry about with young players, if that's all you got, I mean, you do like that. There's no question about that. It brings energy and excitement and enthusiasm. But does a younger player get up in the morning and say, boy, I'm so happy I'm a big leaguer? Or do they wake up in the morning and they say, I got to get to the World Series? There is a difference. And kind of once you had the taste of it, you want to go back. But there are teams in baseball that have young players that have no idea what it's like to play in a pennant race and no idea what it's like to play in October. And you need somebody who has.
How does that affect the Pirates down the stretch, making it to the playoffs a year ago and having that taste of postseason experience?
I think it helps them.
And a walk. That pitch taken high. And a 2-out walk for Matt Carpenter. Cardinals still in search of their first base hit. They did have a base runner. That was Peralta, who reached on an air back in the second. .230 average for Peter Bourjos. And as we talk about Taveras trying to get consistent playing time, same could be said for Bourjos this year.
I'm sure on a personal level, frustrating not to play every day. And you've got to credit John Jay for taking that playing time away from Peter, who, when had the opportunity, did not seize it. And so now you're trying to do your best with 4 or 5, 6 at bats a week. That's tough to do.
Yeah, I don't think it would be fair to say Peter did not have his chance in the early going. He had enough at bats and was just really at his worst, unfortunately, for him at that time. He's gotten so much better, so much quicker and shorter with his swing, not so much movement with his lower half, and much more quality at bats. But he was having a hard time putting the ball in play early in the season. So I think he had a chance and just unfortunately was struggling, and then John Jay just had a quick answer for the Cardinals.
Here's the 0-2. BOURJOS strikes out for the second time. Skyline of downtown Pittsburgh, 1-0 Pirates. STL fan photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. .38 pitches through 2 innings for John Lackey as we start play here in the bottom of the third. It'll be SNIDER, McCutchen, and Walker. First pitch is strike. SNIDER grounded out to third his first time up. And a fly ball lifted out to right center. Peter BOURJOS, 1 away.
Pirates seem to be aggressive, don't they, early in the count? They're looking for that first pitch they can drive. We noticed that in the first inning, but that's carried on here. I think they are just doing everything they can to just jump on John Lackey. They know about that put-away slider for Lackey, and they don't want to get behind in the count on him. A lot of Cardinal fans here tonight. Saw a lot of them around town this afternoon.
And a strike to McCutchen. If I had a vote right now, Giancarlo Stanton would be my MVP. Prior to his injury, Andrew McCutchen would have been right in that conversation with Stanton. The fact that Miami is still in the race in the wild card adds to his resume. And talking about the right fielder, the slugger of the Marlins, McCutchen base hit out to left field. 2 for 2. You can follow every Cardinals game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more.
All you have to do is download at the App Store or visit Cardinals.com today. 1 out hit. Here's Neil Walker. Grounded into a 6-4-3 double play, and arguably the best turn that we've seen this year from any second baseman, Kolten Wong, back in the first inning. It was a terrific play. Breaking ball and a strike. If you don't know the story, John Lackey signed a long-term contract with the Boston Red Sox. They knew at some point, and this is fascinating to me, they knew at some point he was going to have Tommy John surgery. There's damage on the ligament in the elbow. So they said, look, we'll give you the big money. At some point that elbow will blow up. You'll have Tommy John. And to get something back for that, because we'll pay you to rehab big money as if you were on the field, give us an option at the league minimum. That option is next year. And John Mozeliak, before he pulled the trigger on the deal to send Alan Craig and Joe Kelly to Boston to pick up Lackey, talked to his agent. Said, look, we'd like to trade for your guy, but he has to agree to come to St. Louis and pitch for that option next year. And Lackey said, no problem. Happy to do it. And there were many in Boston surprised to hear that. And he said they're surprised to hear it because no one approached me about the option.
And how can that be? You think about cost certainty, as we mentioned earlier in the telecast, and just how important that is for a general manager. You would think that would be a huge part of John Lackey's value a year from now. He's been a winner. I mean, this guy is not really showing any signs of diminishing as far as his stuff is concerned. The last 5 years, his velocity has not decreased one bit. Slider still seems sharp. 150 and 15 in his career. ERA just over 4. I mean, he's not a low 3 ERA guy, but he's been a winner.
That's in the American League East.
That's in the American League East, exactly.
Strikeout in on the hands of Walker, his first strikeout tonight.
And that's why they didn't want to get the 2 strikes. This pitch right here. 2 strikes, you got to deal with this nasty slider in on the hands. And this is not a good breaking ball hitting team, by the way. Pirates are a fastball hitting team.
The other point about Lackey, 16 postseason starts. 16. And only CC Sabathia among active pitchers, and he's maybe done for his career, has more postseason starts. So if you have a big time start, don't think that this guy is going to be looking at that situation and scared, because he will not be. And that's a factor too. I look at the Cardinals, that if they get Michael Wacha back and he's able to start, he comes back fresh, they could be awfully dangerous by the end of the year.
If he's fresh and sharp.
Here's a ground ball that's hit to short, and a flip to second and a forced play. Pirates have stranded 4. We head to the 4th. The Cardinals searching for their first hit.
Holiday, Adams, and Peralta all due up for St. Louis. Gorgeous, and I mean gorgeous night for baseball here in Pennsylvania. There's the Fox Sports Midwest yacht there in the background.
Did you take that over today? I did early.
Yeah, it was great.
They said they were going to come back and get you.
There it goes. They've got more business to attend to.
I sat right about there, middle of that picture.
Holiday rips it foul. Yeah, we've invested in that yacht. Also the blimp that we have. Those overhead shots that you'll see occasionally.
No, the overhead shots we're getting is the actual booth here, which feels at times like we're in a blimp.
We are way up here. That's a look at our camera, which is situated right behind us. See, that's us. That's my hand.
Yep. This is us.
And there we go.
And way down there are the players.
They're dots that move around. I get asked about the different ballparks to call a game from. Here and Washington are very tough because you can't judge line drives and fly balls. It's very tough to do.
I had a fly ball here, Dan, in one of my first games I did play-by-play, and it might have been on the radio. That's kind of what it looks like for us. And I had a fly ball, and I said, and it's a long one to left. And the shortstop settles under it and makes the play. And then I said, well, I hadn't noticed it, but the wind's blowing in here today. But you can't tell. It's hard to, we don't really hear the crack of the bat quite the same way. But, we're at the ballpark, and this is really a terrific ballpark. And I think the atmosphere here has increased even beyond that because it's a full house a lot of nights.
Holiday, ground ball right side. Taken by Walker. This time of year, he used to come to Pittsburgh, and half the amount of fans we have tonight might be here.
And I've got to give Clint Hurdle credit for this, because when people started talking about the number of years in a row that the Pirates hadn't won, I mean, he got his players to believe that those were other Pirates. That's not us. He has an infectious, positive personality that translates to his players. Now, he's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love the guy, former teammate, former Cardinal, but he just exudes positive. And he felt that he had to get his players out of that rut and stop talking about what other players did 15 years ago. That's not us. And, I mean, that's a big sell job, and he has to believe it himself. Coaches had to believe it next, and then they had to translate it to the players, and then the fans have followed.
There's no doubt this is a football town, hockey town.
Right.
Mario Lemieux.
But he didn't even accept that, Dan.
That's yanked foul.
Think about the times we came in there and they said, well, you'll never be able to get 30,000 people here because everybody loves the Steelers. Well, they're doing it.
This has helped his career as a manager against St. Louis while with Pittsburgh. Remember, he was in Colorado. And the Cardinals up by a game, 32-31. That series since Clint arrived. The 1-2 pitch. Adams strikes out for the second time, and that's 6 for Liriano, who, by the way, has thrown a no-hitter before. He did that with Minnesota. He's had Tommy John. He's been the comeback player of the year.
Well, he won't do it now because you said it. That's the slider. That's a little bit flatter slider than we're used to seeing from Liriano. More like a cutter, but Matt Adams has not been picking up the ball very well against his left hand.
There's the highest percentage of swings and misses. Liriano at the top of that list. There's a base hit to right. Cardinals' first hit. Peralta's been on base twice, reached on an error, and now a single to right field.
Told you messed it up.
There it is. Early into those.
Now you need to say he hasn't given up a home run yet today.
He hasn't given up a home run yet today. You're going to mark it down right now? Go ahead.
I've got white out just in case.
And if that happens, you and I are headed to Vegas tonight.
That's a scary thought.
Yes, it is. The impact of Sidney Crosby to this town and Mario Lemieux saving the franchise in hockey. Obviously, they've done wonderful things in football. You have the Pitt Panthers here as well. Also, the fans really get into high school football here in the state of Pennsylvania. So
absolutely.
This time of year, the Pirates have become an afterthought. 1 ball and 1 strike, but not anymore. Even Barry Bonds was back earlier this year to throw out a first pitch.
How about that?
Reception was mixed. Strikeout of Oscar Taveras. 7 strikeouts through 4 innings for Francisco Liriano. For the Pirates as we move to the home half of the 4th. Back to the 2nd inning. Lone run of this game. The long ball off the bat of the big man, Pedro Alvarez. And Pedro is now up to 18. He's driven in 56. Most multi-home run games in his first 5 seasons. Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner, Brian Giles, Pedro Alvarez now with 10, and then Jason Bay.
Ralph Kiner with 30. The late Ralph Kiner had one of the best starts ever for a Major League Baseball player. Unfortunately, his career got cut short, and longtime broadcaster with the New York Mets and a Hall of Famer. But his first 5 or 6 years better than, I would say, anybody that's ever played.
Kiner's corner.
You know, that was my goal as a kid, was to be on Kiner's corner. That was my dream.
And for people that don't know, you grew up in the New York area, grew up a Mets fan.
And that was the post-game show. Now, they didn't have Jim Hayes back in those days, but they had Ralph Kiner doing that post-game show. And I would practice as a kid being interviewed by Ralph.
Under the glove of Wong and into right field after a big win. Did it ever happen?
It never happened, but Tim McCarver heard about that and came to me and went to Ralph Kiner and asked if I could do the promo for Kiner's corner while I was playing.
Did he really?
And I did. So
that's great.
So I've always been appreciative of Tim for that.
Tim and Ralph were best of friends. Actually talked with Tim today. He doesn't miss the games. He does not miss Cardinal baseball. He watches night in and night out. It's ruled a base hit by Alvarez. Now Starling Marte, who has an infield hit. And he looks at a strike. On the outside corner. Nothing in 2 the count.
Good location for Lackey. That one came back right on the outside corner. If he swings at that, that ball's hit on the ground.
Nice play by Tony Cruz. Breaking ball. He had all the spin that comes off the dirt. Could go in any direction on that play and got in front of it.
And Alvarez runs well. And he was mad at himself for not picking up the fact that that was in the dirt earlier. Because once it's in the dirt, it's actually a way the Cardinals have kind of been taught is it's in the dirt, you can go. And he thought, I saw it and I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. He does run well. 8 stolen bases for Alvarez. I think he makes it.
I do too. You have to get that good initial secondary lead, if you will, and then read it, and then no hesitation off to the bag in second.
Marte has been red hot lately. Be careful with him. A lot of strikes from John Lackey. We've seen that throughout his time as a Cardinal. Percentage of strikes to balls is very, very good. About 75% if my math is right.
Sets up outside, the 1-2, runner goes, and it's fouled back. As you mentioned, Alvarez, for a big guy, misleading because he does run and runs well. It's kind of like Matt Adams with defense. I think a lot of people, if you don't watch him every day, you see him, he's a big man, and you think, well, he doesn't move well, he's not agile around the bag. That couldn't be further from the truth. He has been outstanding defensively.
He really has. It's also when you run, too. A good time when you have a lead. Press the issue a little bit. Stay out of a double play.
Running again. Swung on and missed. Thrown out to second. It's a double play. Strike him out. Throw him out. Cardinals with their second double play tonight.
Well, you rolled the dice because Marte has been good lately. Swinging the bat, making a lot of contact. And Alvarez 8 for 10 in stolen bases, so a natural idea, but you end up with a double play anyway. Nice throw, Tony Cruz.
And a strike at the knees to Jordy Mercer.
Cardinals are having a hard time picking up Liriano's slider. That last slider from Lackey, you could see it breaking on 2 planes. It's kind of breaking down and away. And that's what most sliders do. But Liriano's looks a little bit more like a cutter tonight. And I think there's some Cardinals that think it's a fastball.
Get down the right field line, slicing foul and out of play.
And then they're having a hard time squaring it up. They're reading fastball, yet it's a slider.
When I talk to the hitters, in particular, the lefties that have to face Liriano, they say that his is the toughest of anybody when right to pick up. They just cannot pick up his slider. Maybe we're seeing a little bit of that tonight.
He's certainly been on so far.
On the outside corner. Back-to-back strikeouts. And Tony Cruz catching Pedro Alvarez, trying to steal. Good ball game. 1-0 Pirates. Let's head to the fifth. There's a home run, if you're just joining us, by Pedro Alvarez back in the second inning. Here's Kolten Wong. Cardinals have one hit against Liriano tonight. A base hit to right off the bat of Peralta. Now two hits. A base hit to left by Kolten Wong. Remember, the Cubs will be in town this weekend. 4 games, including a doubleheader on Saturday. There are still good seats available. All you have to do is head to Cardinals.com. Cardinals.com. And to see one of the best rivalries in sports. Let's see if the Cardinals want to be aggressive now.
We've got their best base stealer aboard in Kolten Wong. He's 18 for 20. Seen a couple of moves from Liriano already. And a slide step there.
You also coached at the minor league level with the Cleveland Indians. You had a great move when you were pitching in the major leagues. One of the best in baseball. What did you teach?
Well, I had to start out. I learned a long time ago that you don't want to teach everybody to have the same kind of move to first base, because you're going to mess up what they do home. And if you've got a guy that picks up his leg and is slow in picking up his leg to the plate, you can teach him the kind of move that I had, and you can get pickoffs. If you've got a guy that kind of likes to drop and drive, you can't get them to do that kind of move, because it's going to alter their delivery to the plate. The idea is, for a lefty, I'm going to do whatever I do to first, I'm going to do the same thing home. Actually, the other way around. Whatever I do home, that's what I do to first. And if you have a quick leg, pick up, do the same thing to first. The idea is to get the guy frozen. And I think beyond that, Dan, what you do to hold the ball, step off, vary your timing is as important as the actual move to first. Very few guys are going to have the type of move where you're going to pick off 10 or 12 guys a year.
McCutchen very deep in center for Tony Cruz, maybe too deep. plate umpire is hearing it from the Cardinal dugout. That's David Rackley.
Pretty important to have thick skin if you're an umpire.
You're hearing it from fans. You're hearing it from the catcher that no one else sees or hears behind the plate. Many times the hitters put their head down. You hear it from them. The reactions of the pitcher. It doesn't stop.
So the two requirements are good eyes and thick skin.
Consistency. Ground ball that's hit to short, deep in the hole. Mercer out there and safe at first. On a 2-1 count, the Cardinals elected not to start the runner. And in doing so, turns out to be a near double play turned by the Pirates. Nice play by Jordy Mercer.
Yeah, we've already seen a terrific double play turned by the Cardinals. Mercer deep in the hole, a jump throw there. Walker, I first thought, why is he throwing it? But then a little closer than I thought.
We always talk about a bullpen being a situation that's fluid. San Francisco Giants have moved Tim Lincecum to their bullpen. His ERA has gotten close to 10 in his last 6 starts. His Lackey gets the sacrifice down. Russell Martin thought about going to second base. And now in scoring position, it's Tony Cruz. Let's go through the outfield arms of Marte, McCutchen, and Snider here tonight.
Good. And they've got tremendous arms in the outfield. They all know how to play the outfield, too. Marte has been a center fielder in his career. In fact, you throw Polanco in with McCutchen, Marte, who we just saw, and Snider. They have 4 center fielders. 4 guys in terms of speed that can get it, but they're also guys with plus arms. And with Matt Carpenter, question will be how deep do they play? Carpenter has not hit Liriano very well.
You don't have great speed out there at second base either.
Exactly. They're fairly deep, especially in right field right now. Snider.
They all have been deep basically the entire game. The cat and mouse game now of Mercer trying to keep the runner close to the bag at second. That's Tony Cruz. That pitch taken for a strike by Carpenter, who is flying to center, deep center on the first pitch of the game.
You know, Dan, there's little things in baseball. You know, I think you risk. You don't play no doubles defense right here. The double's not that big a deal. You play where you can throw somebody out at the plate. And I think they should be a few steps in just to make sure they'd have a better shot at throwing out Tony Cruz.
Carpenter walked back into third.
The situational stuff we're talking about, Dan, we talked earlier about the Cardinals base running. There are times where an outfielder's not going to throw it to third, so go. Because they don't want the trail runner to go to second. You just have to read that and know the situation at hand. And I think in this case, you get to wherever you think you can throw Tony Cruz out at the plate.
For the speed he has, McCutchen plays as deep as any center fielder in the National League. That's pulled foul past Chris Maloney now. 2 strikes on Matt Carpenter. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs and a runner at second base.
So 2 strikes. What kind of swing is Matt Carpenter going to have against Liriano? A defensive one. So you move in now. I'm not talking about a macro move, just a step or 2.
The dirt, blocked by Martin. Really has added an awful lot since he arrived in Pittsburgh. Leadership,
oh boy,
defense. He can hit. Handles the pitching staff very well.
Caught stealing percentage is 32%, which is up among the league leaders, and he also blocks the ball well, and all those intangibles you mentioned on top of it.
The 2-2. Strikeout number 8 tonight for Liriano. Midway through 5, Pirates on top in game 1. Can track their growth alongside Cardinals infielder Matt Carpenter. All kids entering with a ticket receive a growth poster courtesy of Missouri Farmers Care, and you can receive your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. 8 strikeouts now for Liriano. He's back-to-back Ks for Lackey to end the bottom of the 4th. He has 3 tonight. Liriano looks at a ball. He sacrificed his first time up.
Lackey's done a nice job of settling in. A lot of hits early. Could have spiraled in a bad direction for him, but he just kind of righted the ship and just kept pumping in strikes, kept competing. That's what you do.
Milwaukee, by the way, will play later tonight at San Diego. Kyle Loesch missed a start. Bad ankle against Eric Stoltz, 6-13. Loesch 11-7. 3-1 on Francisco Liriano. Not a very good hitting pitcher in his time in the big leagues. 094 this year. Wow. His first walk, and it's to the pitcher. What's cooking for the Cardinals? Brought to you by Farmland Foods, and it's a look at the upcoming schedule. The Cardinals really control their own destiny. They have 2 games, or rather 2 series, excuse me, 2 series left outside the division. At home against Colorado, then on the road the final 3 games of the season at Arizona.
And the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd will be the last time the Cardinals play Pittsburgh. So just 2 series left against them. But as you mentioned, a lot of teams that are trying to chase you and you're trying to chase. The Milwaukee games are going to be fantastic, and a lot of good baseball ahead. And that Lackey walk, by the way, classic example of what happens when a pitcher tries to throw a strike.
Harrison with a fly ball out to right. Oscar Taveras is there. Back to the bag at first goes Liriano. Harrison is 1 for 3. He's hit the ball hard all 3 times, and it brings in Travis Snider.
I should explain that further, Dan. The whole point is when you aim the ball, when all you're thinking is, I'm just going to throw it right down the middle and I want to strike here, that's when you aim it, and that's when you don't let it go. And no question that Lackey's had tremendous control, and he may have just let up just a little bit just to try to kind of ease it over the plate, and sometimes you lose your command when you do that.
Strike to Travis Snider, who is hitless tonight in 2 plate appearances. Cardinals have turned 2 double plays. The first off the bat of Walker in the first, 6-4-3. Then the strike him out, throw him out double play in the 4th. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now time is called. Left-handed batter. The pitcher at first base, so Adams not holding on traditionally and backs up. That's why. What will be that X factor in the final 5 weeks for Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, St. Louis? Is there a player that will emerge down the stretch? A pitcher that emerges down the stretch? Is it about getting healthy?
Who's the Larry Walker? Who's the Will Clark? Who's the Cesar Cedeno? Dan Dreesen. The David Eckstein in October.
Popped up, mile high. Wong is over, so is Adams, and it bounces into the seats, and Adams is hurt. Immediately they call out Cardinals trainer Chris Conroy. Popped right back up. I wonder if he hit his face on the bar there that separates the field and the fans. Well, he could not hit that any higher.
Yeah, Taveras saw right away that Matt did something that he was concerned about in terms of a potential injury. There's the collision, and he does it, his face right up against that top railing. 3 players involved in this. See Matt hit the side of his, maybe his jaw or the side of his mouth against that railing. Chris Conroy working on him.
You remember a few years ago we were here with the Cardinals, and Albert Pujols went over on a ball that was.
I do remember that.
Yeah, that was such an incredible story. Wound up being a Down syndrome kid with his dad, and those two got to meet and hook up and become friends, and since have been friends. That looked to be off the glove of Kolten Wong and not Adams.
Well, the ball was so high in the air, you called it right, Dan, that I think both guys are just trying to track it as best they could in kind of in the middle of really anybody's ball, including Taveras in that, who's coming in from right field hard, and you've got 3 guys kind of converging, and they're trying to track the ball. They're trying to track the stands at the same time, and they really weren't able to communicate to each other. They weren't sure they could get there. He's going to have a fat lip and may have one already. Sky high. I mean, he's up there a long time. Taveras coming in. Wong coming over. Now backpedaling Adams. Spitting a little blood.
1-2 the count on Travis Snider.
It's a tough hombre there.
And a double play ball. Peralta will take it himself. 3 double plays turned by the Cardinals. All Matt has to say is he should have seen the other guy. catcher's prizes and a current or former Cardinals player. And this Friday, Bernard Gilkey will sign autographs beginning at 5:30. The first 200 people in the Budweiser Bash line next to Gate 5 will be guaranteed an autograph. For info and tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions. What's on tap? Cardinal baseball tomorrow night. A couple of hard-throwing right-handers, Lance Lynn and Garrett Cole. And Lynn has been the most consistent starter here the last month or so for the Cardinals. Will come your way at 5:30. Our Budweiser What's on Tap. Rick, this past week, it was the 30th anniversary of when Bernard Gilkey signed.
Wow.
That's great that he's coming back.
I think it's terrific. Another local St. Louisan making it to the big leagues, and always good to see Bernard.
Peter Bourjos, Matt Holliday, and Matt Adams. We get asked all the time about an emergency catcher, who that might be. Who would be the backup to Matt Adams if he would go out?
I think you've got a couple of choices. I think Daniel Descalso and Matt Carpenter would be the most likely candidates. They both played some first base, and people have been asking that question, Dan, with Mark Ellis being there.
Nice play. Walker. Neil Walker, Pittsburgh native, signed as a catcher. It was in the minor leagues as a catcher, then moved to third base. They tried him in the outfield, and he has found a home at second base. He's a good one.
Nice play, but that still doesn't get him on our postgame show.
Nope.
Because, as we said earlier, he's banned. Too many times.
Here's Matt Holliday, who is hitless. He is struck out swinging and also grounded out to second. And he rips it into left center field. McCutchen on the move. Won't catch up with that one. One hops off the wall. And the Cardinals once again with a runner in scoring position. This time it's Matt Holliday.
I wouldn't have been surprised if that ball wouldn't have broke the chain link fence on one hop in left center field. That ball was smoked by Matt Holliday, and by the time McCutchen turned to go after it, was already past him. 31st double of the season for Matt. Peralta leads the team with 33. Scoring opportunity for St. Louis.
Adams with a pair of strikeouts. Popped up. Adams trying to return the favor. But no face plant into the fence this time.
You think he did that on purpose?
He's got some strikes to play with, so why not?
That is some bat control, Danny.
You can see that lip getting bigger by the second.
Can't really ice it right now.
Two balls and one strike.
What's the classic treatment? Rest, ice, compression, elevation. Can't have any of that right now.
Here's a 2-1. Pulled foul.
So you're Matt Adams. You're at the plate against a guy that has all these strikeouts, and you're thinking, okay, he's going to throw me a fastball in, slider down and away. I struck out a couple of times. And by the way, my lip hurts.
This is our cameraman, Danny. guts down there. Inning started with a ground out on a hard hit ball by Peter BOURJOS. A good play by Walker. Hard hit double by Holiday. Now a walk issued to Adams and a chance for Peralta, who picked up the first Cardinal hit back in the fourth. The second walk issued by Liriano. His lack of command is what's been at issue this year with Liriano. And they say when it unravels, it happens in a hurry.
Gave up 9 runs recently. And isn't that hard to imagine watching him pitch here tonight? How could that have happened?
That pitch taken outside. The crowd now a little bit restless, knowing the recent history and what's happened this season with their lefty. Outfield is deep. Holiday represents the tying run. Adams the go-ahead run. 1-0 pitch.
Dan, looking ahead a little bit, the Pirates bullpen this year is not the Pirates bullpen of last year. You might say the same thing about the Cardinals, at least at this point too. So we've got plenty ahead in the next 4 innings, and the Pirates are not in lockdown mode in their bullpen as they were.
Traded Jason Grilli, who was their closer, for Frieri. Frieri coming over from the Angels. The Angels right now with the best record in baseball. Mike Trout with another home run last night.
A long one too, I saw.
At the Coliseum in Oakland. The 2-1. That's in the dirt. 3-1.
It's a lot like the ball you hit at fantasy camp. A lot like it.
Ball I hit in fantasy camp was a pop up to second.
And you didn't run it out, by the way.
I wanted to feel like a true big leaguer.
How cynical.
3-1. And he walked him. Bases are loaded for St. Louis.
Command, you say?
It can unravel in a hurry. They start to stretch now in that bullpen of the Pirates. 3 walks in this game, 2 back-to-back. And Oscar Taveras, what an opportunity here.
Ray Sears, the pitching coach for the Pirates. I've got to stop saying this, but he's one of my favorite guys. I've got a lot of favorite guys in baseball. But Ray's done a really good job with this Pirates staff over the last few years, and gotten a lot of credit here in Pittsburgh, credit he deserves.
I know there's frustration from the Pirates side, understandably so, when McCutchen was hit by the pitch in Arizona, and after that had to miss time, went on the DL. The Pirates, though, if you look at their total numbers of hit by pitches, they're among the league leaders in terms of hitting batters. When they pitch inside, that's part of the game. Policing the game by the players, part of the game.
I'm sure there's a correlation. 5 of the top 7 guys, by the way, in the National League are here at the ballpark tonight in terms of getting hit by pitches. John Jay is king right now.
What a chance here for Taveras. First pitch taken for a ball. Taveras puts it in play, and a force play at home. Out there to first. Double play. Cardinals, but none bigger than a moment ago off the bat of Oscar Taveras as we take a look at the AT&T fan photo reveal. Time for the fan photo. Ah! That's what that was.
Nice voiceover there. I like
Thank
that.
you. Thanks.
It's impressive.
Here's McCutchen.
By the way, frustrating at bat for Oscar Taveras, and considering the command issues that Liriano was dealing with, just about ready to say you have to be selective in this at bat, get the pitch that you can handle and you can drive, and that pitch down and away clearly wasn't that. So Oscar and the Cardinals would like to have that pitch back again. I mean, you want to be aggressive, but you want to be aggressive on your terms.
A pitch you can handle, a pitch you can drive. He's just walked 2.
Exactly.
Here's a 1-1. Now 1-2 on Andrew McCutchen, who's 2 for 2 tonight.
You know, you play this game long enough, you're going to make an awful lot of mistakes along the way. It's a game of mistakes, but you have to minimize them. You have to learn from them.
Deep center. BOURJOS back with room on the track. McCutchen gave it a ride. And a long, loud first out. Neil Walker grounded into one of those 3 double plays hit by the Pirates. 6-4-3 back in the first and struck out in the third. Two outs.
Change up for Lackey, first pitch. One of the adjustments that he's made along the way is more first pitch off-speed pitches. Pirates, we mentioned early on, were swinging at that fastball early, and he's made the adjustment and has had a few more breaking pitches at the first strike. There it was a changeup to get Walker and keep him off our postgame show.
That man must be off our postgame show.
No, he is.
Not allowed. What if he hits 4 home runs?
Is Jim listening? Does he know that?
Yes, Jim knows. What if he hits 4 home runs?
Talk to Nick Leva then.
Third base coach and a guy you know quite well. Russell Martin 0 for 2. Nick was in St. Louis.
A time I was actually just kind of jumped back into my head. I was doing the start of the game for radio here in Pittsburgh, and the guy that I wanted to talk to, Nick, was trying to get for me, but he went in the clubhouse and he said, "Hey, I'll do it." So Nick was our star of the game, and we had a great conversation. He's really a great thinker in terms of baseball. He's a very good teacher, and he was trained like so many others in the George Kissel style of baseball.
I hate to tell you this, but that player was actually available. Nick just wanted the gift certificate.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, you're probably right now that I think about that. Pretty tricky.
Here's a 1-2 to Russell Martin. Another fly ball, and it's hit out to right. Taveras is there. Good ball game here tonight. 7th inning rolls in when we come back. 1-0 Pirates. 8 strikeouts tonight. And a 1-0 Pittsburgh lead as we move to the top of the 7th. Big Cardinal fans watching on Fox Sports Midwest tonight. Luke and Barrett, Avery and Olivia. They never miss a game watching at home. Big Cardinal fans. Up and in to Kolten Wong. We'll see if Liriano can get settled back into where he was prior to last inning. Walked 2, gave up a double. And then it was a hard hit out by BOURJOS and was able to escape with a double play.
Such a fine line when you're at the plate. You see a guy struggling with his command. You want to be patient, but not too patient. Because if you're too patient, you end up being 1 and 2, and then you got to hit his slider. And you don't want to take the aggressiveness out of your hitters either. Part of the great battle between pitcher and hitter. So many little things involved in it. You know what you want to do. You know what he wants to do. You can cover all of the thoughts going through Liriano's head right now and Kolten Wong's. It's way more complex than just I'm throwing it and I'm hitting it.
Tough play here. Deep in the hole. Wong beats it out. He's safe. And again, the tying run is on. Kolten Wong with an infield hit, his second of the night. He's 2 for 3.
Very close play, and it looks like Clint Hurdle may give his video crew a chance to look at this, but I thought when the ball hit the dirt, that made Wong safe, and it did. Good call.
Now he's changed his angle. He was going towards first base and now making a slight left to the mound.
I'll go talk to this guy instead. How about that? Change his mind even more than that. Liriano's done. Which, by the way, I'm okay with.
Jared Hughes, right-hander, comes in. Liriano. I'm sure the Pirates are thrilled with what they got tonight.
He has not won in his last 4 starts. And we mentioned his last time out, he gave up 10 hits, 9 runs in a really poor performance against the Atlanta Braves. So I think Clint Hurdle just thinking that let's get him out while the getting's good. And showing confidence in his bullpen. And the hottest reliever that the Pirates have right now is Jared Hughes. Or Chevy called it the bullpen.
Here's Tony Cruz. How about the first pitch of when a reliever comes in? Would this be the time that if you're Kolten Wong, put it right on him. Put the pressure on this combination.
I'm okay with that.
You know, Hughes thinking about the situation, thinking of the hitter. Wong, pretty big lead at first. 18 stolen bases to lead the club.
It's one of the things that the manager takes away from pitchers in today's game is the whole idea of holding runners on, when to throw over, when to throw pitch out. So Hughes may not be thinking about Kolten Wong, but I'll bet Clint Hurdle is.
Up, Tony.
Not running, and the pitch is a strike.
Hughes in his last 7 innings pitched out of the Pirates bullpen has allowed just 3 hits and no earned runs.
As you talked about, this is not the same Shark Tank that we saw a year ago. The bullpen that was outstanding for the Pirates.
More like porpoises.
He's leaning at first. There he goes. Great jump by Wong, and it's hit out of play. He would have had that stolen. Wong had a tremendous jump. I mean, he might have been standing up if Cruz did not put that in play. Outfield is deep, and here's an 0-2 pitch to Cruz. Check on Wong. The element of speed that Kolten Wong provides to this club. We've seen that before. Wong picked off.
That goes as a caught stealing. Just the 3rd time. There's the quick move. And Kolten was just going on first movement. You know, by that point, he knew he was picked off, and I think he thought, boy, I got a better chance of him missing the tag here than I do of getting out of the rundown with instant replay, but it didn't work out. There we go.
Base hit.
Boy, is that frustrating.
So base hit for Cruz. Last 2 seasons, the starters and the relievers and where they rank. A year ago, the bullpen 3rd best, 2.85 ERA. This year 15th in Major League Baseball, right in the middle.
Yeah, their starters were good, but I think their bullpen was really the difference. And the lefties that they had down there, and Tony Watson and Justin Wilson. And Watson's been good again this year, but Wilson has struggled quite a bit.
So that closes the book on Francisco Liriano, and he gives Clint Hurdle 6 1/3, or rather 6+. Hughes picked off Wong, and now Lackey trying to advance Tony Cruz, and he can't believe, Russell Martin, that that's not a strike. Neither can I.
It was.
So much so he looked back. I mean, many times catchers will not do that to avoid trying to show up the umpire. Foul ball.
Martin acted as if he was not convinced that that ball was foul. He thought the pitch before was a strike, and he thought that might have been fair.
No surprise to see if Lackey tries to bunt again.
I would think he would.
2 strikes now.
Not a lot of experience doing it.
Bunted high again. That was just like his previous sacrifice.
Well done.
And that was back in the 5th. And once again, Cardinals with a runner in scoring position to tie this game up.
Talked to John Mabry about that before the game today. Who really works with the pitchers in terms of the hitting? And, you know, the hitting coaches, John Mabry and David Bell, have their hands full with all the players getting them right. And the pitchers, it's kind of a different program. And really, Mike Aldretti is the guy that's out there early with the pitchers. And he, of course, has been a hitting coach and now the bench coach for the Cardinals. He is kind of has the responsibility of getting the pitchers ready to bunt well and ready to swing the bat. You know, the idea is just give yourself a chance. And John, of course, is in charge of all of it, but Aldo has the primary responsibility for helping the pitchers to do their job well with the bat.
Carpenter came up in the 5th with a runner at second and struck out. Not many times can you get him twice in this spot. More times than not, he'll come through. Tying run at second, go ahead run at the plate. Jared Hughes trying to send us to the bottom of the 7th. Here's a 1-0 pitch. 2-0. If Carpenter would reach, you wonder if Mike Matheny would think about pinch hitting for Peter Bourjos, who did have a hard hit ball last time up. You do have John Jay on the bench. He's swinging one of the hottest bats right now in the National League.
Got to be in his mind right now.
The 2-0.
Part of Bourjos being in this game is the fact that he hit Liriano so well. Now it's a different situation. John Jay really doesn't really make much difference to me whether the pitcher's left-handed or right-handed the way he's swinging it now. He's getting ready.
May think even Descalso in that spot, the way that he's been swinging the bat. Ball 4. Cardinals have received 4 walks. That'll be it. Bourjos pulled back. And Jay moves to the on-deck circle. A hit for Peter Bourjos. Second walk by Carpenter. And in steps John Jay, who has not been great in this spot, though, as a pinch hitter. It's one of the toughest assignments in the game. Coming off the bench cold. John Jay, this season as a pinch hitter, has picked it up lately. He's now 5 for 17.
Does have 3 RBIs. The RBIs have been picked up recently off the Cardinals bench.
Runners at first and second with 2 outs. The first pitch to Jay. A pickoff. Cruz back in safely. Jay is hit safely, by the way, in 14 of his last 15 games. He's 20 for his last 45. In the month of August, hitting over 400.
It's the second time that Tony Cruz has been on second base representing the tying run. And I believe Russell Martin thinks he had a shot at picking him off there. He's trying to get as big a lead as he can get. And he almost took 1 step too many.
Jay, base hit into center. He's done it again. Cole's being waved in. Followed by McCutchen. Throw to third. Safe. And safe at second. Jay winds up in scoring position as well. It's a brand new game.
John Jay comes through, and McCutchen makes it worse for the Pirates with what he does in center field. There's the jump for Tony Cruz. He's planning on scoring, and McCutchen bobbles it in center. then throws to third late, allows the runner to go to second behind him. That's just bad defense by McCutchen.
Well, you like to see the aggressiveness of Carpenter. We talked about that too, from first to third. Holiday, base hit, left side. One run is in. Here comes Jay. Cardinals have their first lead. 3-1 here in the bottom of this, or rather the top of the seventh. The Cardinals and Holiday, they come through, and it's now a 3-1 St. Louis lead.
John Jay right in the middle of it, and Holiday comes through. Hole on the left side, he hits it, and McCutchen allowing the runners to advance. Helps out the Cardinals in a big way. And I like the emotion from John Jay after he scored.
Cardinals lead it 3-1. Jay off the bench with 2 outs to drive in a runner. Holiday drives in 2. This crowd is silenced and stunned. The starter, Liriano, was cruising along, pitched out of a bases-loaded jam.
And Jared Hughes isn't hot anymore.
Jay and Holiday come through. Cardinals on top for the first time. Their first of the night, first in this series, obviously. John Lackey, he's done his part, still in the game. Holiday is 2 for 4, a double and 2 RBIs. Liriano pitched really well, and Alvarez a solo home run to account for the lone run for the Pirates. Kolten Wong, by the way, off the hook, picked off. Now it doesn't seem to be as glaring, does it?
The only 2 outs of the inning are the pickoff and the sacrifice bunt. So the Cardinals have given both the outs in the inning. And McCutchen, you know, we've seen him make some great plays. He plays a very deep center field and certainly a very fast outfielder. But he's made some errors against the Cardinals over the last couple of years. And here's the play we're talking about. There's the base hit by John Jay. Okay, that's going to score a run. But if he catches this ball, the runner doesn't go to third, but he boots it. Then he makes it worse by throwing to third, which allows Jay to go to second. So the base hit scores 2 instead of 1.
And here is Adams against the shift and against a lefty. They've got 2 very good lefties in their pen, and Tony Watson and Justin Wilson. But as you talked about before, Rick, this bullpen and the lefties included, not nearly the numbers that they put up a year ago.
Well, Wilson has great stuff, but the numbers just not there for him. You know, bullpens are funny things, Dan. You get on a roll and it becomes a collective thing. It's I don't know, synergy to it. I'm not sure what the right word is, but you kind of feed off each other. You got a thing going, and guys throw differently, have different kind of stuff. You have momentum as a staff, as a bullpen staff. And the Pirates had that a year ago, but they don't this year.
The shift, and not an easy play there for Walker. The stretch by Alvarez. And it's time to stretch here in Pittsburgh. The RBIs coming with 2 outs. That's a theme here in the second half. John Jay off the bench, tied it up. Holiday putting the Cardinals on top. Bottom of the 7th when we come back. All important game, and St. Louis on top. John Lackey still in the game. Home half of the 7th, and here's Alvarez, who homered earlier. That floats in for strike 1. Lackey has not allowed a base hit since back to Alvarez in the 4th. He's gotten better as this game has gone on. Ground ball against the shift. Wong from the outfield grass, 1 away. Next time you're looking to pick up great seats to the game, just head to StubHub, and you can earn 2% back in fan rewards on every purchase, including Cardinals tickets. Plus, with all-in pricing, there are no surprise fees at checkout. StubHub, your ticket to upgrades and more. John Jay and the Cardinals, as Jay stays in the game to play center, they now have 209 2-out RBIs, tops in the National League. Second to Oakland at 215, as Marte was showing bunt. The Cardinals rank in the National League's top 20 among individual 2-out RBI leaders as well. That's so demoralizing when you think about 2-out hits, RBIs, and what it means going against a team. The pitch was up, may have gotten away with it. 1 ball and 1 strike, and Marte has an infield hit and is struck out.
So the 2-out RBIs kind of a corollary to the crisp hitting that the Cardinals had a year ago. It's not exactly the same, but this is how we characterize the Cardinals offense this year, getting those RBIs with 2 outs. And John Lackey is kind of smelling it right now, isn't he? He's just attacking the plate. You don't have 200 inning years in the big leagues year after year without staying in games that are in the balance and finding ways to get deep in them the way Lackey has done tonight. He's just good at that.
He's also made adjustments here.
He has.
Middle half of this game as opposed to what we saw early on. The Pirates, as you pointed out, and rightfully so, they were so aggressive early in the game, early in counts. Well, then he started to see that and made the adjustment with some of the off-speed pitches, a little bit more out of the zone at times. He's gotten them to chase. Backhanded by Peralta. Well, he's just steady at short, isn't he?
Sure is. We talked about minimizing mistakes, too. Important for the Cardinals to do that defensively, as well as Lackey on the mound, not throwing a lot of hangers because the Pirates were good at getting mistakes, and the Cardinals certainly have minimized those opportunities for the Pirates and have gotten back in this game, jumped ahead. I should caution that the Pirates have more comeback wins than any team in the National League.
There's Carpenter. He was playing in, and Mercer grounds out. A 1-2-3 inning. How big is that? Your team gives you a lead. You come back with a shutdown half inning. Welcome back to Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Let's go to our studio and a Barbarito Sports Update. All right, guys, thanks. I know it's been a busy night at Ballpark Village. All the Blues fans there, and we're getting set for hockey season. Great time of year. Football firing up. Hockey is getting set. And September baseball. There is nothing like it. And it looked like John Lackey is done for the night. Darted towards the walkway back to the clubhouse, and the Cardinals have Pat Neshek getting loose in the pen. They want to go inside here on Peralta. If that's the case, give Lackey a lot of credit. That was an 8-pitch bottom of the 7th after his team just put up a 3-spot in the lead. BJC Healthcare difference makers, and this is the team home run leaders first season with their club. Johnny Peralta with 18, shortstop of St. Louis. Shallow right, and a diving catch, and what a play. An outstanding catch. Travis Snider, full extension, and he makes the play.
First, I thought Walker was going to have a better shot at catching this ball, but it carried out, and Snider never stopped coming hard. Walker still going for it. Good thing those two didn't collide. Little Ozzie Smith and Kurt Ford there, almost. Wilson appreciates it.
Oscar Taveras came up with 1 out. And bases loaded. He grounded into a 5-2-3 double play to end the threat. He thought at that time That could be the best shot the Cardinals would get tonight. St. Louis, though, with John Jay off the bench, came through again. Starting to win and come back in a lot of games late. Sign of a team that maybe is headed to postseason.
Different feeling starting to be around this Cardinal club. We had very few wins in the first 4 months of the season that you would say, wow, that's an emotional moment. What a great comeback. Or, wow, this team is a different hero every day. We didn't say that. We didn't feel that. They didn't feel that. But you're starting to get that sense a little more now. I still think Oscar Taveras is going to hit 400 on this road trip.
I like your optimism. And I think you said 500 earlier.
Oh, I meant 400.
You meant, okay.
Must have misspoke.
There's a few hitless games along the way. It's going to be down to 300.
You're getting ahead of me.
I'm with you, though. I think he's made some adjustments here. I watch his swing. It's not quite as long. It's still at times long. But a chance to play every day. Righties, lefties. We're getting a chance to watch him play and see what he can do. Here's a 1-2 pitch.
Showed a good eye there.
Tough one to take, huh? Those ones to the backstop that hit the bowl.
There's some discipline for you.
In the bullpen, by the way, a former Cardinal for the Pirates, and that's John Axford, former closer with the Brewers. Been added for Pittsburgh since we last saw them. Still have Melanson and Genmar Gomez, Brandon Compton, Watson and Wilson from the left side. Chase that pitch up and a strikeout. Cardinals have struck out 9 times tonight.
Again, the Cardinals, the hardest team to strike out in total in the National League. The Pirates, the second lowest strikeout total for their pitchers. Yet 9 strikeouts tonight.
Cardinals will get Garrett Cole tomorrow night, and then Jeff Locke will go in game 3.
Garrett Cole, in my mind, is the key to the Pirates' finish. He's going to be the bellwether guy. If he goes 5-0, or he is the pitcher that he was a year ago at this time, the Pirates are going to make a run at it. If Garrett Cole is not what he can be, I think they're going to have a hard time competing the last 3 weeks of the season, because he's a horse.
He's dealt with injuries this year. We saw him at the tail end of last season and in postseason play. Actually made the game 5 start against Wainwright in St. Louis of the division series. Pitched well. Here's an 0-2. You
think, Dan, about this Cardinal team starting to show emotion and life and kind of winning ways, and you add Yadier Molina to that mix, who, as Jim Hayes reported earlier, is headed to a rehab assignment in Double-A. We are in for some fun. And Neshek is into the game.
Telecast is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the perfect beer for whatever happens. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Pat Neshek takes over for St. Louis. Ike Davis will be the pinch hitter. Neshek, incredible numbers this season, are Chevy called to the pen.
You almost can't even digest those numbers adequately for Pat Neshek. They're so good. His fastball has been so much better than I think he even thought it could be. Coming out of spring training, it seems like the velocity has increased, the movement. He's developed that changeup, which he uses very effectively, and the slider has been his pitch already. He just has a lot of weapons right now, and he's in his familiar spot right now of pitching the 8th inning. So the Cardinals have it set up, Dan, in a way that they haven't always had it set up in the last few weeks.
First pitch is strike. I know we have said this before, but it just seems like he's always pitching with an 0-1 count.
Exactly.
He's mixing in a very good changeup, especially to the lefties.
He always pitches to me like a guy who's got an itchy uniform too. I mean, he's got some interesting movements about him. He's not really a steady guy.
Did you see the velocity on that last pitch according to the gun?
I did not.
94.
Well, that's one tick up from the last time out. He got up to 92, 93. Just heating up, isn't he?
He's using it so much more this year, that fastball. 0-2. That pitch at 93.
I think the kind of the fidgety nature that we occasionally see from him is actually works in his favor too. Quirky, maybe.
I think it's an uncomfortable at bat. Neshek is set with a 1-2. There's the changeup. 69 miles an hour. He has yet to throw that so familiar slider. But against the lefties, he now can combat the slider and mix in a changeup to go along with a very good fastball to keep you honest. Here's a 2-2. Went back with it again.
Well, hitting is a guessing game at times. And if there are more options to have to guess against, it makes hitting tougher. And that's the thing about a reliever that has multiple pitches. You can't just keep pumping fastballs because that takes the guessing out of it. So Ike Davis is thinking, well, he just threw me 2 in a row. He wouldn't throw me another one, would he? And that little question mark in your head makes you late on that fastball inside, perhaps.
He did. And it's popped out. Playable. Peralta. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Rick, it was this date in Cardinals history back in 2005. Tony La Russa moved past Sparky Anderson, 3rd place for wins by a manager. Over 1,400 in St. Louis, the all-time winningest manager in Cardinals history. So we go back to the top of the lineup and Josh Harrison.
Tony coming back to St. Louis one more time.
He is on September 15th, which is a Monday and an off day for the club. It's our evening with Tony La Russa, second in our speakers series. Limited amount of tickets, very intimate setting at the ballpark inside the Redbird Club. Cardinals.com/La Russa if you like those tickets. He'll do a 90-minute Q&A. Everybody walks away with a Tony signed ball. You have drinks on the track and down on the field for an hour.
You want to spend time with Cardinal managers that day, you come to the Whitey Herzog golf tournament that day, and then you go to La Russa that night. Wow, have you learned a lot about baseball.
Tony's great in those settings, and so is Whitey.
You better believe it.
Whitey's done so much in our community, helping out kids and raising a lot of money and awareness for the game of baseball. Kathy Dampier has been with Whitey and helping out raise those funds.
Built baseball fields, a lot like Cardinal Care has done.
Here's a 1-2 to Harrison.
Terrific tournament.
And for the LaRussa event, Cardinals.com/LaRussa. Dinner, drinks, picture with the World Series trophy of 2011. 90-minute Q&A with Tony. Similar setup to what we had with Bob Gibson. We did 2 nights with Bob. 2-2 the count. Here on Josh Harrison.
I think Josh Harrison, in many people's mind, when he was announced as an all-star, people said, really? Josh Harrison?
I was one of them.
And I would have been in that line. And I think now that we're at August 25th and we're getting close to this pennant race, we're in this pennant race, and he's their leadoff hitter and starting third baseman and top 10 in the league in hitting, we're all saying, see, he really is an all-star, isn't he?
Pulls it and foul. May have broken his bat, and he did.
In fact, the Pirates have 2 players in the top 10 in hitting in the National League. Harrison's one of them. And the other one is Andrew McCutchen. And the last time they had 2 players in the top 10 in the league in hitting was in 1992. Barry Bonds, who you mentioned earlier, and Andy Van Slyke.
Andy Van Slyke, now the first base coach with the Seattle Mariners. And I think about the American League and postseason play, and 2 teams that have some serious arms that come at you. And I mean power arms. Kansas City and Seattle. Man, oh man, do they have some arms.
Kansas City, Seattle, Baltimore, all in the playoffs, perhaps.
The 2-2. To short, Peralta. Safe. Again, that speed of Harrison comes into play.
Scored an error on Johnny Peralta. That's his 11th. The low throw. He makes a nice play, very smooth, but the low throw is not handled by Matt Adams. He's been about 19 for 20 out of those. I mean, he just scoops him up regularly, but he couldn't get that one. So that's the first Cardinals error, and let's hope that doesn't hurt.
Travis Snider. He's hit into a double play. Fly to center, grounded out to third. Cardinals have turned 3 double plays tonight. There's the changeup.
By the way, I think that was an error, but I'm surprised it was called an error.
Especially against the Pirate. A tough error. Two and 0. It's a big pitch here. Snider with some home run power with 10 this season.
He'd had an 11-game hitting streak until Friday when he had an offer. Generally been swinging the bat well the last 2 weeks.
Change up again, 3-0.
That fastball right there, along with the changeup, has been the difference for Neshek, especially against left-handed batters. When you throw sidearm like that, lefties normally see the ball well. The slider gets neutralized some, but that sinking pitch with good movement, good hard fastball has been a big plus for him.
Double play ball. Flip to second. It's a double play. The Cardinals, 4 of them tonight. Had him out in front, got the ground ball, 4-6-3 on the double play. 3-1 in favor of St. Louis. We head to the ninth. 7 hits aside. And again, not an easy play for Kolten Wong. Double plays, Rick, a story of this ball game.
And 4 different kinds of double plays here tonight as well. Here's the first one. This one's at 6-4-3. Kolten Wong showing off. That was probably the most amazing double play. Here's a strike him out, throw him out. That's double play number 2. And this double play is 6 unassisted. Johnny Peralta doesn't need Wong on that one. And now it's Kolten Wong going to his right. Easy play to boot if he's not careful. And it turns into a 4-6-3 double play. 4 different kinds of double plays. Really the difference in this game today. Jose Oquendo very pleased to see that.
So here is the aforementioned John Axford. We saw him with St. Louis. When the Cardinals acquired him, we were in Pittsburgh last year, you may recall. And it's our Chevy called to the pen. 5th appearance wearing the Pirates uniform. Tony Cruz leads it off. The fastball at 95. Taken for ball 1.
What we remember from Axford is occasionally when his fastball was right and his command was right, he was the Axford that we knew from the Milwaukee Brewers when he was closing out games and pitching so well, but his command kind of comes and goes. But there's no doubting the velocity of John Axford. That pitch at 96.
Breaking ball drops in for a strike, 1-2. Be Tony Cruz here. Shane Robinson has moved to the on-deck circle. And then we'll see Matt Carpenter looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth. Part of the order coming up. McCutchen, Walker, and Russell Martin. Trevor Rosenthal getting set in the pen.
Curious why it's not Daniel Descalso.
Backhanded very nicely at first base by El Toro.
Shane Robinson a year ago led the Cardinals in pinch hits, but lefty righty, the way Daniel Descalso has been swinging the bat, I'm sure there's a reason, but you would expect to see Daniel in this situation.
Just thinking out loud, maybe he's saving him potentially if you get into extra innings and you need that, what would be the quote unquote at this point top pinch hitter to come off the bench. Who knows?
It's an idea. Daniel may have some issue we don't know about. Could be Daniel's flexibility defensively that we talked about earlier as being kind of a backup player for so many different people. In a game like this, you may want to save him more than your extra outfielder, but I still find it curious. And you add what he's done lately in terms of his pinch hit at bats. I say get some extra runs and don't go to extra innings.
Well, that was the right move to put Shane Robinson in this spot.
As I said.
Right. By the way, what are you wearing tonight? You look absolutely fantastic.
What am I wearing tonight?
Well, it's in honor of the Emmys. I have to ask that question.
Oh, is that right?
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing my Fox Sports Midwest outfit, Dan. How about you?
Me too. You look tremendous, I got to tell you. That jewelry, really nice.
I feel good. Thank you. Now, you know the jewelry happens if the Cardinals win the World Series.
Oh, do I know. Rick and I have, well, there's no betting in baseball, but it's a
just an agreement.
An agreement. Well put.
Understanding.
The Cardinals win the World Series. Here's the first pitch to Carpenter. Rick will get a tattoo And yes, we're serious about this, and have to wear for a 2-week period a dangling earring very similar to the one worn by Barry Bonds for a number of years. So we'll go ahead and pierce your ears on the post-game set and also figure out a tattoo.
And my favorite part of the agreement is what you'll do.
I have to be quiet
completely
for 3 days. That's going to be the hardest part of this. If anybody's watched The Leftovers on HBO, I'll be doing that. I'll be writing out all statements, questions, comments, remarks. If my wife is watching, she is really pulling for the Cardinals.
I just heard a big cheer in my ear from our truck, by the way. And I don't think it was about my earring.
Come on, Birds. Tony La Russa got a tattoo after the '06 World Series.
Yes, he did.
Have you thought about what this tattoo may look like?
Some preliminary thoughts.
And if you have any suggestions for Rick, he'll be happy to take them at RickyH49, his Twitter handle.
Danny Mac TV, if you want to express your thoughts about Dan being quiet for 3 days.
That could get ugly. A lot of please. Let's go Cards. Birds in 14.
Whatever it takes.
Robinson is the runner at first base. You with the dangling earring. Outstanding.
That might be a little tougher than the tattoo, frankly.
The tattoo lasts forever. Runner goes. Pitch taken for a ball. Throw to second. Out. And Robinson may be hurt. Holding his wrist, it looks like.
I thought he beat the throw to second base. Kind of an awkward slide for Shane Robinson. And he gets up quickly. I'm not entirely sure what's wrong here. He is really close to the bag already. Hits it awkwardly, then kind of lands on the base. He's holding his left elbow. A hard slide. I'm still not sure he's out, by the way. Not sure what his left elbow hit there, but Mike Matheny, Jose Oquendo, Chris Conroy all out there attending to Shane Robinson. Thought he had a good jump. Again, the late slide, his foot kind of gets caught on the base a bit. His left arm. Yeah, it does look like he's out just barely. He's sliding along on the ground and gets it caught underneath him, and the impact right against the base jars that left elbow. And you don't want to guess, but you just question about shoulder as well. Maybe dealing with the inside of the left shoulder right now, about separated shoulder. Again, just guessing here, and don't really want to do that because you're not really sure what's going on with Shane Robinson, but clearly it's something more than just scraping my arm across the ground here. And now Greg Houck out there as well. And Shane in a little bit of distress right now.
Looks like they're working on that shoulder. Maybe when he went down and slid, that's when he jarred the left shoulder sliding. Not there, but initially when he put the left hand down in the dirt.
Well, he's grabbing his elbow there, but maybe the elbow,
it's almost to hold the shoulder.
To hold the shoulder, exactly right. Shane's a tough guy too, so the fact that he's out there is an indication to me that that is a very painful injury that he dealt with there, and you just hope that It's nothing too serious, but we'll just have to wait and see.
He's dealt with so many injuries in his career. That vicious injury in the minor leagues, the collision. Pitch was taken for a ball, and so is that one. A little bit low at 95, and it's 3-2 on Carpenter.
Pretty amazing throw from Martin, and a quick tag too, because again, to the naked eye, I thought he was going to be safe to begin with.
Chopped to short, and the bottom of the ninth coming up. Rosenthal coming on. What's been an entertaining ball game. 3-1. St. Louis. 3 to go. Cardinals 1-7-2 for Pittsburgh. John Jay, how did we get here? Cardinals down by a run. He has our Nissan drive of the game with 2 outs. Pinch hitting for BOURJOS. That would score Tony Cruz to tie it up at 1-1. And then Holiday a base hit to score 2. 3-1. Trevor Rosenthal will come in for St. Louis. This crowd in a frenzy. It's our Chevy call to the pen. He is 38 of 43. And Rosenthal one back of K-Rod of Milwaukee for the saves lead in the National League. Crowd tonight 24,352. 2-4-3-5-2.
Been a close game, an entertaining game, a well-played game, and you've got just what you want. Closer against the middle of the lineup in the bottom of the ninth.
McCutchen, deep left. They get one back. It's now 3-2.
Well, McCutchen may have given the Cardinals an extra run early in this game, but he gets it back with one swing of the bat here in the ninth inning. Thankfully, a solo shot.
That's his first home run off of Trevor Rosenthal. McCutchen is now 3 for 8 against the Cardinal closer. Here's Walker. Walker is hitless in 3 plate appearances, and this crowd is electric. Nothing in 2. tough pitch to take. 1-2. Got him with a changeup. 2 outs to go for St. Louis.
It's been such a good pitch for Trevor Rosenthal. The changeup, the good fastball arm action, but the grip takes the speed off. Throws so hard. Changeup's a good neutralizer. Still think next step for Trevor is to have a breaking ball that he uses often enough to make hitters think about it.
Russell Martin.
There was one there. He's working on that. That was the curveball. Trevor threw it more when he first came to the big leagues. He threw it more in the minor leagues as a starter. Seems to be his forgotten pitch.
Rosenthal is now thrown the strikeout of Walker. 59 in the 3rd innings. He's given up a total of 2 home runs. Moments ago, number 2 off the bat of McCutchen. 1-run game. 2 balls, no strikes on Russell Martin. Outfield, he's deep. Wow. 3-0. Tying run is aboard. Winning run will come to the plate.
Trevor didn't get the high strike or the low strike. One of those 2 has to be a strike.
Alvarez is 1 for 6 off of Rosenthal. He is homered tonight. A solo shot back in the 2nd inning. It's been a game defined for the Cardinals defensively by double plays. They have turned 4 of them. They've done that 1 time this season other than tonight. That was against Pittsburgh back on April 4th. Can they do 5? Slow roller. Rosenthal this time underhanding to Adams. Tying run in scoring position. Remember on the game in Philadelphia, threw a sinker over to Adams and pulled him off the bat. Now they're 1 out away. Starling Marte will be the hitter. John Lackey, our Budweiser player of the game, he did his job.
And then some. 91 pitches for Lackey. Kept competing, kept his team in the game. Now it's down to this.
If the Cardinals hold on, Pittsburgh 4.5 out in the wild card behind St. Louis. Outfield is deep straight away. Center field. This will do it. And the Cardinals hold on for the win. 3-2. Pittsburgh now 4.5 games out in the wild card behind St. Louis. 3-2 the final in game 1.
Matt Holliday, the 2-run single, the difference in this game. The Cardinals close it out. Outstanding game from beginning to end. Lackey the winner. Jay contributes again, and Rosenthal picks up save number 39.
Fun ball game here tonight. Cardinals had to come from behind. They did so and then held on. They take game 1. Post-game show, Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live comes your way next.